Welcome back to the New Orleans Arena and the Big Easy as we get set for the start of play in the second half. 9-point lead for the East over the West. Tonight's game being broadcast to our troops around the world on the American Forces Network. Marv Albert along with Reggie Miller, Doug Collins, Craig Sager, David Aldridge working the sideline. Of the highlight of the first half was about a 2-minute spree that took place in the second quarter. Just incredible end-to-end action.
Well, in all-star games, you're always going to get that up and down play, but Dwight Howard here with the vantage point comes up with the steal right here, does the right thing, get it to his guards, the moon alley-oop to LeBron James, to Superman himself. Dwight Howard with the finish, 5 for 5, 12 points.
Our vantage point, camera vantage point in theaters on Friday, we should point out. On the pregame, Doug, you were talking about LeBron James, and as it turns out, he goes out and puts together a stat line which has him, I would think, as the early line favorite for MVP honors.
Well, Marv, I think in a game like this, people really get a chance to see what a great passer LeBron James is. I mean, he has to average 31 points a night for Cleveland, but with this group of guys, you see the touch pass. He's so strong, and he's so tall. He sees over defenses. Soft. Watch this bounce pass here between two defenders for the easy score. 7 assists for LeBron James, and really that's the difference in the game. The points off the turnovers and the fast breaks way in favor of the Eastern Conference.
And a look at tonight's Jeep game summary. Terrific shooting by both teams. The East at 33 of 57 for the 58%. The West 28 of 52 at 54. How about 19 attempts from three-point land for the East? 11 dunks for the East.
Well, if I'm Byron Scott, I got to start searching for some trades on my teams. They're really not getting the job done here. Only 1 point in fast break points. He's got to shuffle this up a little bit. I got to look for trades here. Oh, it's an all-star game, right? You can't trade anybody?
Well, but in fairness, you know, Tim Duncan played 8 minutes in the first half, and Yao Ming played 8, and he probably won't play much more this second half. So the big guys, the advantage of the West really was neutralized by the East being able to get out and get in that open court.
Reggie very quick on the trigger. Get rid of these guys.
Get rid of these guys.
All right, third quarter underway, and there's the bowl-like pass from Kidd. Wade with the reverse, yes, and the foul. So Dwayne Wade will go to the line. Wade now with 10 points.
You know, Michael Jordan made this shot famous, Coach. You coached him for so many years when he was going to the hole with the little flip over the top of the shoulder right there. You feel the contact, you turn your body, you use the glass.
Nash going for the steal and picks up a second. No, it was deflected out by Wade. Iverson for Duncan, and the pass knocked aside. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Well, following up on what Reggie was talking about with Byron Scott, I asked Byron who in that locker room wants to make this competitive and not just entertaining. He said Allen Iverson spoke in the locker room, said this is ridiculous. We're getting run off the court. We're not getting back. It's 21-1 in our fast break points off turnovers. He says we want to win this game. Let's go out there and let's not embarrass ourselves. So AI, the answer for you, Reggie.
Well, AI's also got 6 turnovers in the first half, so he has to clean up his game a little bit as well.
Kind of critical there, Coach.
Well, no. I always say if a guy's going to speak, I love that. But, you know, you got to throw yourself into the heat there if you're part of the problem.
Meanwhile, the East has equaled its biggest lead of the night, led by as many as 11 earlier in the first half. Yao stepping back for a 3. Well, Yao Ming enjoyed that. And Carmelo Anthony now with 12 points.
Well, I know there's one guy over there on the bench who's not going to play in the second half. Triple Ocho, Kobe Bryant. Like I said, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. In these all-star games, those guys, as LeBron James knocks down another 3. Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson were the best tone-setting players in these all-star games. And you can add Kobe to that list because it doesn't matter who's on the floor. He's going to play 100% all the time.
Allen Iverson coming right back, and we're told that Kobe Bryant is back in the locker room, so did not even come out for the second half. Checking the stats, we saw Yao Ming a moment ago attempt that three-pointer during the regular season, and I would think that they were forced shots with the clock running down. He attempted only 2 from beyond the three-point line. The East up by 10. Kidd finding Bosch, and he was stripped. And here's Iverson giving it up to Nash.
A little bit of that running game, Reg, you talked about. Now with Steve Nash and Iverson and Carmelo out there, they can get into more of that attack.
Bosch. And punched out to Iverson. Iverson and Nash in the backcourt now for the West. Nice pass, but Duncan blows the stuff. And Kidd looking for Bosch to his right. And that pass from James picked off. Here's Anthony. The West within 6. Carmelo Anthony has 14 points.
You know, it was kind of interesting listening to Dwight Howard talk to Craig Sager right before half, saying they have to run with the West. And we know the West has so many athletic runners with Steve Nash as Dwight Howard with yet another dunk. And it's kind of surprising they want to run with the West, who's known for running. The East really not.
Howard now with 14 points. 6 of 6 from the field. Here's the lob. Oh, put down on the follow by LeBron James.
But when you look at the makeup of the West team, Reggie, they got big guys. Look, they got Yao Ming, they got Tim Duncan, Carlos Boozer, Dirk Nowitzki. Here's a replay where LeBron missed. So they've got a lot of big guys. David West, where the East is a very small lineup.
Yao Ming with a nice move, and he draws the foul. The West with Tim Duncan, Carmelo Anthony, Yao Ming on the front line with Allen Iverson and Steve Nash in the backcourt. And the foul is called on Howard, his second.
He has terrific footwork for a big guy. You know, you think of it, Reggie, you talk about all the teams that love to run in the Western Conference, but I mean, how hard it is for this man every single night to run up and down the floor and keep pace in the Western Conference. I have such admiration for him. Anytime you've talked to anybody who's coached him or, you know, been around him, his work ethic, what a great teammate he is. He's a big part of Houston playing much better basketball now.
Yes, the Rockets have won their last 8. They're 32-20 as they vie for a playoff spot, just 4.5 behind the Hornets and the Suns. Bosch keeps it alive and fires one up and hits. Chris Bosch of the Toronto Raptors extending to an 8-point East lead. The Kidd stepping away, challenging Iverson to take the shot. And now he does, and he scores.
Allen Iverson is a competitor. You know, I think about the 3 strong-willed guys in this league: Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, who's injured for tonight's game, and Allen Iverson. You know what you're going to get from those 3 guys night in and night out. Is Dwayne Wade with the turnaround fadeaway. Those 3 guys probably play the hardest. Hurt.
And Iverson just hates to leave the court. Leads the NBA in minutes played. James, oh, what a move.
You know how hard that shot was? I mean, he drifted 7 feet in the air from where he caught that ball and has such great leg streaks, he was able to square his shoulders to the basket. What a shot.
And again, Yao looking for the three-pointer and way off. Perhaps he will retire the three-point shot. Here's the lob, and James, once again, he now has 19 along with 8 rebounds and 8 assists.
It didn't take Yao Ming long to get into the spirit of the game, stepping out behind the three-point line.
Well, he saw dirt at the three-point competition and said, look, that's a 7-footer that can knock him down from long range. Why can't I?
Anthony had it stolen by Kidd. Kidd for Bosch.
What a beautiful passing touch. The guy just threads the needle, and more importantly, Mark, when he does that, he gets it right to his shooter when he can do something with it. He doesn't handcuff you with the pass.
Jason Kidd now with 6 assists. Steve Nash. So that ends an 8-0 run by the East. Here's Wade going at Nash. Lost the handle and then able to recover to get it to Bosch. Rebound Yao Ming. Here's Iverson with Kidd back. Goes right at him. And Anthony not able to control.
Watch this fadeaway by LeBron. Now look where he takes off, and look how far he drifts. Look at his shoulders get square to the target. Beautiful rotation. He knocks the shot down, and this one he just goes up and beautifully just drops the ball in the basket. LeBron James is The West tried to make a little push, a couple back-to-back baskets to continue to give them a 12-point lead.
And substitutions. Joe Johnson of the Hawks checks in along with a couple of Celtics. Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. Just under 6.5 to play in this third quarter. The East up 91-79. Looked like one of the substitutions was waived as Rasheed Wallace and Antoine Jamison also trying to come in, and Bosch went to the bench and was called back. Pierce trying to use the pick. Now the lob, and Bosch scores again. 14 points for Bosch. On the turnover, here's Allen. Little hesitation move, yes, and it counts. Ray Allen will head to the line.
Well, to the delight of Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen coming up with the steal. Keeps the ball in transition with the little fake behind the back. Gets into the teeth of the defense. Chance to go to the line and one.
And to the delight of Paul Pierce, when they got the 5th pick in the draft, they knew they couldn't get a young player to keep rebuilding. They get Ray Allen, and then that excites Kevin Garnett to go to Boston with a trade for Al Jefferson, a terrific young player, and the expiring contract of Theo Ratliff. So how quickly things change for Boston around draft time.
Nash, yes. 95-81. The East on top. They have led all the way. Marv Albert, Reggie Miller, Doug Collins are in New Orleans. Pierce trying to reach in on Nash for the dribble. Carlos Boozer back on the floor, played by Rasheed Wallace, and Boozer from deep.
That's a little bit out of his range. Carlos, a terrific shooter up to about 18 feet. That was 2 steps behind that.
Boozer now has 10. Here's Chris Paul to just check back in. You saw the behind-the-back maneuver. And now he delivers to Carmelo Anthony.
And this is where Chris Paul is at his best. When you get him in the open court where he has vision and he has finishers like Carmelo Anthony. For the Hornets, the best record in the West.
Allen with that quick release for 3.
The second best three-point shooter in the history of the NBA. And Marv, we're sitting by the best.
Yes. Carmelo Anthony lays it home.
Shameless plug, coach. Shameless plug. But thank you.
I got to take care of my man.
11-point East lead. Wallace attempting the 3. So the ball back to the West. It's 24 3-point attempts from the Eastern Conference. Nice moves by Chris Paul of the hometown New Orleans Hornets, and picks up another assist. Guys, a programming reminder, national coverage of the NBA continues Wednesday on ESPN. It's the Lakers and the Suns. Perhaps we'll see Shaq's debut as a member of the Suns. And Thursday on TNT, the Heat and the Rockets, followed by the Sonics and the Blazers. Coverage beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And now tonight's Collins Look Ahead, presented by Heineken. Earlier we heard from you regarding the West, now the East.
Well, will the Pistons continue to trust their bench? All the starters' minutes are down. Bench points up over 30 a game over the last 10 games. They've won all of those. One of the areas they've been really struggling with since they won the championship is getting the better bench. Is 4 through 12 good enough in Boston? Are they going to add another player before the deadline? And mediocrity rules. Only 5 teams above 500 this season. Still a lot of teams in the hunt. Atlanta makes the deal for Mike Bibby, hoping that he can get them into the playoffs.
All right, here is Boozer as we resume, and it's rebounded by Allen. We were talking about it the other night in our Dallas Phoenix telecast. In the East, if a team has a night off, there's a good chance they can pick up ground, which is unfortunate.
They go from 10th to 7th.
It's funny. Byron Scott said, I saw a team lose 2 games in a row and picked up a game.
That too, yes. There's David West, blocked by Rasheed Wallace. West blocked now by Antoine Jamison. West blocked by Rasheed Wallace.
Can't you get a home whistle?
You're not kidding me.
But it's the hat trick, unfortunately, for David West, who was trying to get the shot off, and they were contesting.
Well, David West right here, look like he's in the land of the Giants right here. You would think first inaugural game here on the home court, he would get a call underneath. And then at the other end, they just shoved Chris Paul into the partition. Where's the love for the hometown guys?
Ball goes back to the West, 3.5 to play in this third quarter. The East up by 11. Here's Nash racing and able to score. Steve Nash has come on. He now has 8 points.
Razzle dazzle. Now you got Paul and Nash out there together. Just don't blink if you're the Eastern Conference, because the passes are going to be whizzing up the floor. The West has gone to a smaller lineup, trying to work themselves back into this game with some speed.
And the West showing some defense. The ball slapped away from Pierce and last touched by Pierce. Here's Paul with a nice move. Nash, 3-guard alignment now being utilized by Byron Scott. West again gets inside, and this time able to lay it in. So the Eastern Conference lead is down to 7. Wallace for 3. Brandon Roy on the rebound. Paul, Roy, and Nash, 3 guards on the floor. Nash delivers. Nice play as he gets it to Boozer.
And it's being set up perfectly here for the fourth quarter. The last 8 or 10 minutes, this game is going to be in the balance.
9 assists now for Paul. Oh, a little flip shot, a reverse by Ray Allen. It's a 14-5 run here by the West. Allen with the steal. Try to put a move on Paul. Allen and Johnson now in the backcourt with Pierce, Jamison, and Wallace up front. Here's Allen to the rim. 102-93. The East with the lead. Nash. Paul passed out of 3. Nash for 3. Rebounded by Paul, gets it right back. Now Paul from downtown. Rebounded by Pierce.
Well, Coach, you talked about the challenges setting up for the fourth quarter. It's going to be a challenge for Doc Rivers and as well as Byron Scott for the minutes. Who's he going to go with in the fourth quarter?
East now leads at 104-93, and a 20-second timeout is called by the West. Now they extend to a full timeout. We'll be back to New Orleans in a moment.
The 2008 NBA All-Star Game, live from New Orleans, Louisiana, is brought to you by the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines, and by Jordan. Become legendary.
All day President's Day. Watch 13 back-to-back episodes of Law & Order that will keep you guessing. Get the guy.
Game is over.
Starting Monday at 10 a.m. on TNT.
All right, it's time now for the somewhat entertaining and educational segment titled Reggie's Remarks, presented by AT&T.
Well, you know, there's so much history that goes into this All-Star game. You know, Kobe Bryant only played 3 minutes. Allen Iverson, they're both going for their 3-time MVP in the All-Star game. Which player has the most All-Star hardware? Here in the attendance, Bob Pettit, 4.
Didn't even give us a chance to think about it. There's Bob, Hall of Famer. Come right back with the answer.
Right back.
He didn't give us a chance, right? I mean, it's like he know we saw his
Y'all
cheat sheet today.
Y'all are cheating over here.
Better to cheat than repeat. What I used to always say.
Our statistician Paul Evans points out Bob Pettit in the 1956 NBA All-Star game had a pretty fair night. 20 points, 24 rebounds. That game played up in Rochester, New York. Nice pass. Boozer unable to hit. And back comes Pierce. Here is Allen with no hesitation from downtown. Well, the West went on a 14-3 run. The East coming back with 6 unanswered. And in this final minute of the third, the East back up by 11. Wallace wanting more room on the inbounds from Boozer. Joe Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks. Rasheed Wallace. See, things have tightened up a bit here in the third quarter. Here's Pierce on a fadeaway.
That's where he loves to operate on that baseline. If you let him get those shoulders on that baseline, he gets to the foul line, and he is tough to handle in the fourth quarter.
Dirk Nowitzki back on the floor. Chris Paul at the point. Paul and Roy at the guards. Nowitzki, West, and Boozer up front. Boozer, West keeps it alive, and then handled by Pierce.
Coach, when you coach this All-Star event, how many plays did you put in, really?
An inbounds play on the side underneath the basket, and if you didn't have a fast break, maybe a little single double action, some pick and roll, just those kind of things.
Final seconds of the third. Pierce for three. Well, the last 13 points for the East scored by the Boston Celtics. 9 for Ray Allen, 4 for Paul Pierce. As we head to the fourth, the East with a 13-point lead. Back in the Big Easy, a look at downtown New Orleans. And aerial coverage being brought to you by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. Well, during our commercial break, Craig Sager talked with the head coach of the West, Byron Scott.
Well, Byron, he got back into the game going to that small lineup with the three guards, Steve Nash, Chris Paul, Brandon Roy, but now it's up to 13 again.
Yeah.
What are you doing in the fourth quarter?
Well, you know what? It depends on how close the game is. I want to get Timmy back in there and Big Yao back in there, but we got to make a little bit of a run here. We got to do a better job on the transition part of basketball as far as getting back and not allowing these guys to get these easy buckets.
How important is it for these guys to win this game?
Well, they feel it's important. They had a pretty good win last season. They want to try to keep it going. So, the last thing they've been saying on the bench the last couple of timeouts is, hey, let's go ahead and win this thing. So we'll see how this fourth quarter goes.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, Byron looking to get Yao Ming back in there for that three-point touch. Byron Scott, head coach of the surprising hometown New Orleans Hornets. At one point, they won 9 in a row, 12 of 14 in the month of January. Coaching in his second All-Star game as head coach of the Nets. He handled the East squad back in 2002 in Philadelphia, game won by the West with Kobe Bryant capturing MVP honors. Fourth quarter is underway, and Reggie and Doug, both you guys with connections to Byron Scott.
Yeah, we acquired Byron in December of 1993, the Pacers did. He played 67 games, averaged 10 points. I think he'll be more remembered as Chris Paul knocks down a 15-footer. He'll be more remembered by that huge shot he made in game 1 against Orlando, and we went on to beat Orlando. We had never won a playoff series before, but more importantly, he gave us belief that we could win. He brought championship experience, 3 rings. So that's why the Pacers, during the 90s, the success we had, a lot as LeBron James knocks down a shot. That is why we went to another level, was because of Byron Scott.
Yeah, and I had a chance to coach him at Arizona State for a year, and I just enjoyed my time with him. He was a hard worker, always came out every day to get better. And he and I played the same position, so we really worked on being a 2-guard, and he was fabulous in the NBA.
Nice fadeaway by Amari Stoudemire. And Byron Scott, you'll recall, took the Nets to 2 NBA Finals and has made it back, as you mentioned earlier, Doug, they stuck with him here with the Hornets, an 18-win season. They won 18-64, 4 years back?
And he says because of that, this game means more to him, not only because it's in New Orleans, but what this team has been through.
A couple of years in Oklahoma City. The economic situation here in the city of New Orleans following Hurricane Katrina. And as Boozer tried to get it back outside, he's called for steps. So the ball back to the East. I mentioned the 2 finals appearances with the New Jersey Nets. 3 titles as a player with the Lakers. Played 14 years in the NBA. Originally a first-round draft pick of the San Diego Clippers, 4th overall. That was back in 1983. Here comes Paul against the backpedaling Phillips, and Bosch also back to help. Nowitzki played tight by James. Stoudemire with the stuff. A facial served up on, yes, Superman.
Dwight Howard with a little sheepish smile on his face right now. See if he wants the ball back down in the post.
Oh, I think he does.
And in the post, Stoudemire defending on Howard. The rebound comes to Roy. 9.5 remaining in this 4th quarter. Here's Paul with the shovel pass. A beautiful move by Chris Paul to set up Carlos Boozer. 9 points, 10 assists for Chris Paul.
Well, the West is now showing some life here in this 4th quarter. We said if the game was competitive, these guys' juices would start to flow.
And that is deflected out. Last touch by the East.
This guy is so electric in the open floor. It looked like he was going to take a bounce pass and throw it between the legs of Chauncey Billups. He pulled it back, and Amari Stoudemire. See, one thing now, when Amari goes to the basket like that and Shaq's under there, nobody's going to leave Shaq for a little dump-off pass. So he's going to have some avenues to go to that basket here in the last 30 games for Phoenix.
Tim Duncan has come on for Carlos Boozer. Been playing very well. Nice move by Paul. Boozer leads with 14 and 10, and here's the West within 5.
I think Chris Paul might be making an MVP run here if his team can pull this game out.
Well, the man with the ball right here has led the West so far all game. Let's see if he's going to find an answer for the East.
It's an 8-0 run for the West. Foul is called by Stoudemire and a timeout taken. Pretty pass from Paul, and Boozer lays it home. Well, we've been talking about this, and voting is now open for the All-Star Game MVP. Enter to win a trip for 2 to the 2008 NBA Finals. Just log on to NBA.com or text the player's last name to 38657. Standard text messaging rates do apply.
Like how you have your cell phone in your hand and
I'm ready.
You wanted to be one of the first texters. That's very nice there, Marvelous.
But as always, I am undecided. 3 minutes, 20 seconds in to the 4th quarter. And the East lead has been cut to 5. They've led by as many as 16. Shot clock down to 2, down to 1. And
has that ever
it
happened
is a
before?
violation, yes.
The 24-second violation in an exhibition All-Star game?
I thought he got an extra second also.
He did.
Yeah, I was waiting for the official whistle.
Well, Marv, this is what we talked about. The game is on now, a little over 8 minutes to go. It's a 5-point game, and now the competitiveness is going to start to rise.
A game that has certainly had its flurries, particularly back in the 2nd quarter. Here is Duncan giving it up. Stoudemire again! With Dwight Howard in the area.
Are you trying to like come up with a WWF between Dwight Howard and Amari Stoudemire?
It's a 10-0 run, stopped by that long-range jumper by LeBron James. It's a 2. He had a foot on the line.
Now look how big this lineup is now for the West. Amari Stoudemire playing small forward with Duncan and Nowitzki.
And here's Dirk for 3.
Now it's going to be fun.
Well, I'm going to tell you one person. I'm looking at Kobe Bryant's expressions over there on the bench right now, and he is itching to be a part of this game.
Here's Billups from downtown. Bosch able to keep it alive and lost it. Paul took it away. Paul with the lob, and Roy connects. The game is tied at 110. Rip Hamilton of the Pistons finding Chris Bosh of the Raptors. He's rejected. Roy up with it. Tough pass to handle. Threw it at the feet of Paul, and it is deflected out of bounds. Last touch by the East.
Chris Paul in the open court getting it done. Brandon Roy doing a good job of running the lanes right here. They've gone to somewhat of their small lineup, the West squad, led by Chris Paul.
Well, they've gone to a big lineup, Reg. You got Amari out there with Duncan and Nowitzki. The East has gone small. Now they've got Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, LeBron James, and Jason Kidd. So they have 4 guards and Dwight Howard. So now The West is gigantic on that front line.
And Kidd trying to defend on Nowitzki, who spins around him and scores, and the West has the lead for the first time tonight. Phillips over Nowitzki.
I can hear George Blaha right now, Mr. Big Shot, fourth quarter.
George, the voice of the Detroit Pistons. So you're saying he's turning down the sound and calling the game
Exactly.
to practice.
He right now is just working on his own game at home.
Nowitzki to the fade. Duncan able to keep it alive. Duncan banks it home.
As you look at the size of the West right now, they are going to try to pound the ball down low to their big guys.
Phillips for three. And Stoudemire able to get to it. 6 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Paul drives the lane. Rebounded by Howard. Phillips trying to put a move on Stoudemire. You see Stoudemire talking to him about it. James guarded by Paul. Shot clock to 5. James for 3 and air ball. Well, the crowd enjoyed that. A little conversation between LeBron James and Chris Paul. Coming up on 5.5 remaining in the fourth. The West up by 2.
Why you come to the side? I think you throw on the side. My bad.
Hey, what's those you got on your feet, Eddie? Hey, tall, air tars.
Let's go with that. Good pass, boy. And one. There we go. Let's go. Oh, we're going to wiggle on him. Good pass, boy. There we go.
He hit you? Elbow me. Bench like back in my mouth. You know, we're going to try to find him in the back. I'll hold him down. You can try to drop the elbow on him.
Well, with me, Steve Nash, and we saw some of his inside tracks. Who are you trying to rough up on your arm there?
No, I think a lady hit me on the with the towel toss. She hit me in the back of the head. So, you know, she needs to work on her arm strength, I think.
We saw you guys get back into the game using a small lineup, and then came back even further with a big lineup. When did this game become so competitive?
Well, it's just been a lot of fun for us. We've been working hard together, you know, the last couple days. And it's been a lot of fun for us, so thanks, bro.
Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, you know, after 14 consecutive appearances, we all miss Shaquille O'Neal at this All-Star game. He's back actually practicing in Phoenix today. What's he going to do for you guys?
I don't miss him. I want him at home practicing, getting ready. So we're all excited for him. And, you know, if he keeps working as hard as he is, he'll be back in the All-Star game next year.
It's entertaining, a showcase, but you got some new shoes on. Tell us about them.
These actually are the first performance high performance recycled shoe. It's 100% recycled from rubber and leather, and just trying to erase our footprint on this planet, or take a step in the right direction, if you will.
All right, and they're called the Trash Talk, which isn't very conducive to your image.
I know, so that's part of the comedy of it. You know, I'm not really a trash talker, but the shoe is made from trash, literally. So
by Nike.
By Nike, yes.
All right, thanks a lot. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Craig, as Wade takes to the rim, and it's put home on the follow by Dwight Howard, and the game is tied at 114. And those new shoes called Trash Talk stems from Steve Nash's passion for the environment, more so than his behavior on the court. As Nowitzki comes up with air.
You know, when you look at Dirk Nowitzki's stats on the year, he only has 41 made threes this year. He was upwards of over 2 a game as we see LeBron lay the ball in, but he really has gone away from the three-point shot.
Shooting only 29% from beyond the three-point line, and Avery Johnson actually had tried to pull him back from shooting threes. Here's Nowitzki to the rim. And the game is tied at 116.
Well, that's where he wants him, down in that mid-post area where he can get to the rim and get to the free throw line more often.
Coming up on 4 minutes to play in the fourth. Wade had nowhere to go. And the West comes up with it. Byron Scott staying with Chris Paul at the point in these final minutes. Try to get it down low, and a foul. A loose ball foul is called. It's on the East. Foul on Howard, that's his third.
You know, you talk about the shoes with Steve Nash. You look out there, Reggie. Everybody broke out their shoe for this this event. It's amazing where sneakers have come in the last 20 years.
Well, listening to LeBron James, even the officials, as he kind of got on Eddie Rush, Eddie Rush is calling his Air Tars.
Now Duncan working the post, facing a double, gets it back out to Paul. They swing it. Nowitzki. And Wade is on it. And here is Wade to the rim, and he's turned back. Stoudemire, yes, and the foul as he was shoved, was able to get it up, and he's headed to the line.
Well, Myers Stoudemire getting it done at both ends of the floor. He denies Dwayne Wade at one end, runs the floor and gets the and one. Dwayne Wade thinks he has an easy alley to the rim right there. Amari Stoudemire out of nowhere.
Foul on Howard, that's his fourth. So Stoudemire looking for his 19th point as he gets set to shoot the free throw.
You know, Amari takes a lot of stuff about his defense in Phoenix. He's the 6th leading shot blocker in the NBA. So you put him with Shaq in there now, I think it's even going to enhance his ability to guard that rim.
Here's Allen from way downtown. Ray Allen with a three to give the East a 1-point lead. Allen off the bench for 17. Paul, yes. How about Chris Paul? What a performance. 13 points along with 12 assists. So the West back up by 1. Here comes Paul on the open floor. Has Roy. Brandon Roy has played well. Has not been looking for his shot. But he's done a good job of distributing the ball.
Now Chris Paul's changed his whole game since he's come in.
The West with its biggest lead up by 3 with 2:35 left in the fourth. Paul defending on James once again. Allen with another deep three and scores.
Ray Allen from long distance, keeping this East squad in the ball game, tying it up, back-to-back threes.
That's his 4th three of the night. We are approaching 2 minutes to go in the fourth. Paul for 3. Rebounded by Wade. Allen open for 3. Yes!
Ooh, he is smoking.
And Fuego.
125-122. The East on top, 23 points for the Boston Celtics. Ray Allen, 9 have come here in the fourth on the 3 3-pointers. And a timeout is being called.
Transition, Ray Allen gets to the corner right there, wide open three. 3 triples in a row for Ray Allen, 23 points.
With Ray Allen leading the way, the East with a 125-122 lead with 1:49 remaining in the game. Let's take a look at our Vantage Point camera. Vantage Point is in theaters on Friday.
Well, you see the weak side there defensively. All eyes are on LeBron James. A beautiful cross-court pass. Tim Duncan cannot get out. The quick release of Ray Allen. He gets the kind roll. 3 straight threes. He's put himself in the MVP voting here now. 23 points in 17 minutes.
He hit the 3 threes over the last minute 16. He's 5 of 8 for the game. Overall, 23 points. He scored the last 9 for the East. The All-Star game record for most threes. Mark Price hit 6 back in '93. Allen with 5. 1:45 left in this fourth quarter. And the West in possession, trailing by 3. That is deflected away. Last touch by Wade, and the West with 6 on the shot clock.
Well, it's interesting. The East looks like they're in a zone, and they're trapping the post now. They're going back and double teaming the post, so you're seeing some defensive scheming here now.
Well, LeBron James is guarding as Chris Paul laces up a 3.
So the game is tied at 1:25 with 1.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And here's Allen looking for 6. Rebounded by Duncan. Chris Paul now 16 points, 9 in the fourth quarter, along with 13 assists. He's in the MVP discussion. They double up on Duncan. Shot clock to 4. Wild pass attempted by Nowitzki, and it's picked off. So back comes LeBron with a minute to play in the fourth. He goes all the way! Woo! LeBron James with that change of pace move to give the East a 2-point lead. James has 27. Nowitzki, Paul charged for an offensive foul.
Now he actually wiped out the defender when he handed that ball off to Dirk Nowitzki. This play is spectacular. Remember, Amari Stoudemire had gotten a block in there recently. Not this time. As he hands this ball off, he just wipes out Ray Allen.
And this has developed into one of the best finishes in All-Star Game history. 35 seconds left. Here's Wade. Yes, and the foul. The East up by 4 with 35 seconds to go in the fourth, and Wade is headed to the line.
Well, LeBron James got it done on the previous play, and now Dwayne Wade comes down in the teeth of the defense. Brandon Roy all over him. You saw him make that and one before over his shoulder. Degree of difficulty.
Dwayne Wade, a 76% free throw shooter. Not able to complete the three-point play.
He has not shot them well in the fourth quarter this year.
Half minute remaining. Nowitzki has a three-point shot blocked by Wade. Recovered by Paul. He fires for 3. It's tipped and missed. And back comes Kidd. Allen takes all the way with 15 seconds to go. It's a 131-125 lead for the East. Time running out on the West. Roy for 3. With 8.7 to go, the East lead is down to 3. Kidd inbounds, has Allen, and he is fouled by Paul to stop the clock. And we would like to point out, guys, that the polls are still open. Remember to vote for the All-Star Game MVP by logging on to NBA.com or texting the player's last name to 38657. 38657. Ray Allen, one of the league's best free throw shooters, 91% at the line. He's among the leaders. Ray Allen, a late add to the All-Star squad, replacing the injured Caron Butler of Washington, has 26 points. 12 have come in the last 3 minutes.
And when I talked to Doc Rivers a couple weeks ago, he said he's still trying to learn to incorporate Ray Allen into their offense there. Well, today he found a way to do it. And Ray Allen got hot at the right time, and it looks like the East is going to pull this one out.
Down to 6 seconds to go. That was last touched by the West. And now substitution. Chauncey Billups will come on for Dwight Howard. Howard with 16 points, 9 rebounds.
Doc Rivers got all these really good free throw shooters out there.
Kidd with the inbounds. He knocked it in off Nowitzki's foot and then was able to get to it as a foul is called. Stop the clock with 1.8 remaining. And the West is over the foul limit. So Allen to the line. Foul by Paul. A moment ago, Ray Allen missed a free throw, which is most unusual.
He's missed 2 tonight. Right. Very uncharacteristic of Ray.
And Ray Allen, a leading contender for most valuable player honors.
You like him, Coach?
I voted early and often.
And from the body language, the indication is that Doug, who had a vote, went for Ray Allen.
I did. I thought he changed the game. I thought Chris Paul, had they won, would have gotten my vote because of what he did to get his team back in the game. But Ray Allen's electric shooting, we'll see if the other people agree with me, but I thought he changed the game with those brilliant shots.
And an exciting finish to this 57th NBA All-Star game. Ray Allen, 28 points, 14 over the last 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and the East wins 134-128. We'll be right back.
The 2008 NBA All-Star Game, live from New Orleans, Louisiana, is brought to you by Bud Light. Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming. By State Farm, unbeatable good neighbor service for the same or less than those other guys. By Sprite with Lyman. And by Hyundai. Discover the power of thoughtful engineering at thinkaboutit.com.
Welcome back to New Orleans. A strong finish, a stirring finish to the 57th NBA All-Star Game. The East over the West, 134-128. For the announcement of the game's most valuable player, let's go to public address announcer Chuck Edwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TNT's Ernie Johnson for the presentation of the Most Valuable Player Award.
All right, thank you very much. Great show, New Orleans. And if you follow the NBA, you know who these two guys are. The first word belongs to the commissioner of the NBA, David Stern.
Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, New Orleans. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for hosting us. And thank you for allowing us to participate with you in the restoration of this great American city. Thank you to all of the All-Stars and all of the participants in this weekend who worked in the day of service to help restore this city. Thank you to the entire NBA family, but especially thank you to tonight's All-Stars, the greatest players in the world playing a spectacular game. Give them a hand. Thanks, guys. But there has to be an MVP, and tonight we have a deserving one. LeBron James, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 blocks, and 1 steal. What else did you do tonight, LeBron? Congratulations, 2008 NBA All-Star MVP, LeBron James.
LeBron, the last 2 times the East has won, you've been the MVP. Now, last year, these guys spanked you pretty good. Did that enter the thinking as you guys took the court tonight?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we didn't want to come out here and get beat up on again, so the East did a great job, man. We got a big lead in the first half, and we were staying their run in the fourth quarter, which they put on a good one, and we made plays down the stretch.
This thing was kind of up in the air as far as who the MVP would be. If it were not you, who did you look on the East side?
I think Ray Allen had a heck of a shooting night. He kept us in the game in the fourth quarter, and you know, he's the reason why we was able to keep the lead. His shooting ability is unbelievable.
How would you describe in closing this week in New Orleans, first time this city has ever hosted the All-Star Game? How would you put it into words?
Well, I hope, you know, not just me, but every All-Star from the East and West was able to put smiles on kids and on families' faces. I think we all know what happened, the devastation down here, and, you know, to bring the NBA All-Star Game here, I think it really uplifted the families down here, and, you know, we had a great time. Thank you, New Orleans, for allowing us to be here.
LeBron James, your MVP of All-Star 2008. Back to you, Marv.
All right, thank you, Ernie. And as Ernie mentioned, a second MVP award and All-Star play for LeBron. He won it in Houston 2 years ago at 21, the youngest player to win All-Star MVP honors at that time. There were several candidates, and you can make a case for a couple of guys. LeBron James, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, had that driving dunk to put the East ahead to stay in the final minute. Ray Allen, a spectacular shooting exhibition, 14 points over the last 3.5 minutes. He had 28 for the night, including 5 threes, one shy of an All-Star record. Dwight Howard, 7 of 7 from the field, 16 points. The West with balanced scoring, 18 apiece for Amari Stoudemire, Brandon Roy, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul of the Hornets, 16 points, 14 assists. Certainly a MVP candidate, and Carlos Boozer, 14 and 10. Thanks to our producer, Scooter Bertino, director Renardo Lowe, and a statistician, Paul Evans. Coming up next, a special encore presentation of tonight's All-Star Game. For Doug Collins, Reggie Miller, David Aldridge, and Craig Sager, I'm Marv Albert. Thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching TNT, home of the Western Conference Finals. And for everything All-Star, log on to TNT Overtime at NBA.com. For all of us, we bid you good night from the Big Easy.